A couple things that are really important. The older we get, frankly, the more important it is to move, and the more important it is, in a sense, if you want a reality, if you want to optimize what movement can do for your life, go harder and go longer. And I was recently listening to a very esteemed exercise physiologist. He's also a neuroscientist. And he was the one, I had one of those aha moments of him talking about just as we get older, frankly, our genes are set up to work against us. They really are. Our genes are set up to procreate. And then after that, who really cared? Procreate, and just so as we get older and past this stage of life of procreation, we do have to work harder. We have to work harder if we really want to maintain our vitality like it was when we were younger. And that means moving. And, and at the end of the podcast, he was asked, okay, if you had to give us your ideal recommendations for an exercise regimen, here's what he said. So you want, the aerobic is critical, right? The aerobic activity, the movement is going to get your heart rate up, and hopefully enough to be, not necessarily in pain, but a little bit uncomfortable here and there, right? So the aerobic, if you only could do one, would be that. And you can get that from brisk walking, but you can get it bajillions of different ways. You can get on a Peloton, you can get on a bike, you can go jog, you can swim, you can get that through playing an organized sport, but you've got to do the aerobic activity. And he would say, do that, incorporate that 5 days a week or more, frankly. And then you've got to do two days a week of some kind of resistance work, whether that's yoga, whether that's bands, whether that's Pilates. Critically important as we get older, because we are programmed to lose our muscle mass. And one of the greatest predictors of our functionality and our independence in old age is not losing that muscle mass, right? I find that extremely motivating for me. I never want to be a burden on my children, on my family members. And I am doing more and more as I get older. I'm pushing 62, more and more resistance work, right? And I typically will do yoga twice a week. I do Pilates twice a week. Typically, there's sometimes, I can't fit it in. I can't do it. And then when I get on the Peloton, I will do, part of Peloton is weights. So you have these free weights between these like little breaks you get to have, and you on the bike and you're doing these free weights, at least for the upper body stuff. So some form of resistance work 2 days a week, aerobic activity at least 5, if not 7 days a week, and then 1 day a week. So there's something magic about this zone 2 cardio. Okay, so there's 5 zones. Zone 1 is like basically doing nothing or like minimal movement, right? Zone 2 is probably for most people a brisk walk. If you're super fit, it may be a little more than a brisk walk, honestly, right? For me, I'm very, very fit. I probably have to do a slow jog to get in zone 2 cardio to get my heart rate up to that point. But back to that. So that zone 2 cardio, incredible. For most people, that's just going to be brisk walking and trying to do really long, an hour and 15 minutes or more, 1 day a week is something magic about that. And even 1 day a week will really, really help you. And it's especially important for people having mitochondrial dysfunction. It can be a source of why people have a hard time losing weight. That prolonged zone 2 cardio can really be good with mitochondrial renewal. All right, so back to the nuances. If you could do one day a week, zone 2 cardio for an hour and 15 minutes or longer. Can you go 2 hours? Can you go an hour and a half? Can you go an hour and 45 minutes? Okay. And then in 2 of your days of your cardio, do some intervals, and you have to make sure it's safe for you. But intervals are for just really brief periods of time. You're going to really go. So like if you're brisk walking, can you flip and walk as fast as your body will take you from here to that telephone pole? Even if I'm talking 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 15 seconds. So that, that we call that, in a sense, high intensity interval training. So that has very, very special features too. So if you can incorporate in your, whatever your aerobic activity is, and you can do it, for most people, they can even do it walking. If you can incorporate some interval work where you're just going as hard as you kind of can safely for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, again, whatever you can do, but it doesn't have to be more than a minute. And then you can just be relaxed and you can like stroll easy for 3 to 4 minutes and then do it again, right? That's what we call interval work. And even 4 to 5 of those a couple of times a week as part of your aerobic activity. So ideally you should try to move every day, right? So really, I'm not joking, particularly as you get older. Now, if you're, less than 40, your genes so work for you, you're lucky. You really, for someone to be under 40 and have health issues, man, have they abused themselves, because the body is so set up for health and your genes when you're young like that. Anyway, look at that a couple different ways. And so for me, I always mix it up. So I went to yoga today. I feel so good. And I do pretty intense yoga. I do hot yoga, 75 minutes. I push myself absolutely to a very pretty intense level, but I've been doing it for 7 or 8 years and I can do that now. And then I actually go to Pilates. I'm going to go to Pilates today. I think of Pilates more as physical therapy. I have 3 bulging discs in my lower back. And if I take care of myself, I don't have any pain. And I think of Pilates as more of my therapy for my back. And then yesterday, all I had time to do, I was really active in the day, cleaning up, moving around my house, but I got on the Peloton and just did a 15-minute Tabata class. I don't know if you know what Tabata is. It's pretty intense. It's where you go all out for anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. And then you rest for half of that and you repeat it and you repeat it. So I did 8 cycles, intervals of Tabata, but I completed it in 15 minutes. That's just all I had time to do yesterday. The day before that, I took a run. And the day before that, I took a long walk, almost 2 hours. That's that zone 2 cardio I was trying to get in. Anyway, so, I usually never do one thing more than twice in a week. And I run and I walk and I spin and I do yoga and I do Pilates and I swim. Anyway, so that's what I do.